How we doing, guys? Good evening.
How we doing, guys?
Oh, good.
Ryan, you're in the controls, mate, so I'll let you introduce and I'll let you start the show.
No problem at all. Great. Well, listen, guys, welcome. May the 13th, 2025. The return of Sandra. Rumour has it there's a young, handsome Italian man going to be coming down Edmiston Drive in the next few days. And Sandra is right back in amongst it. So, welcome back, Sandra.
In my white tee.
That's the first rumour.
Absolutely. So, yeah, welcome, guys. We're sitting here patiently waiting for some fantastic news coming out. So, thanks for joining us tonight. So, we've got Si, Sandra, and Lewis on the couch. How you doing, guys?
All good, pal. How are you?
Doing fine, mate, doing fine. And we've got Gordy as well joining us via StreamYard as well, mate. How you keeping, mate?
Good man, yourself?
I'm doing fine, mate, doing fine. Listen, guys, before we get started, if you can like and share, if you haven't already, get this out here. We're here to talk about the famous Glasgow Rangers and hopefully imminent good news coming away. So I'll let you take it away, Si.
Aye, I think we'll do a couple of minutes chat on the game at the weekend, but I think the big conversation now and for the next couple of months of pre-season is going to be, hopefully, we're 90% apparently with the takeover and obviously the new manager. So it's the start of a new era. We can get a couple of minutes chat on the past week if we want, tomorrow night as well. But the big thing for me is the main conversation. There's no smoke without fire, and it looks as if this boy, Davide Ancelotti, is that how I pronounce it?
Well done, Simon.
Anchovy.
I'll probably say that, so please don't say that.
There's too many big hitters in the social media world that have came with the story saying that they think he's a favourite. And the narrative, if you remember, Chris Jack, now, for the last 20 years, Rangers have always had a preferred journalist that they like to leak stories with, and he said it won't be a Rangers-related manager. So that rules out Gerrard, McInnes, Muscat, probably the vast majority of them. So I would say there's definitely a story in this. Whether we think it's a good thing or a bad thing is for us to chat about tonight.
Lewis, what's your thoughts, pal?
My thoughts? I'm a bit intrigued with the whole rumours coming out in the last day or two. Really, it's been, because it's popped out of nowhere. Ancelotti's boy, I mean, we've not really got much of a clue. He's not got really much experience in sort of managerial side. He's been the assistant manager of his staff for the last few years at several big clubs, of course, Bayern Munich, Everton, Napoli and Real Madrid. So it's intriguing. At first, I seen that and I was like, no way. But then I did a bit of research into it, and I wouldn't say excited about it, but as I said before, I'm intrigued.
And me,
Sandra?
I know absolutely nothing about him.
Except the fact he's handsome.
It's funny, he says that.
He's handsome.
He says that about us.
Yeah. Gordy?
Yeah, a bit like Lewis, actually. It has come out to kind of left field in the last 48 to 72 hours. As Simon said as well, never usually any smoke without fire. Chris Jack, Fabrizio Romano, etc., saying it on their Twitter and Facebook pages. As Lewis has said, there's not a lot to say about the guy. He's obviously started off as a, Simon, you love this, sports scientist back in 2016 or so. I know you love the sports scientists. Then became a fitness coach, and then, as Lewis quite rightly says, joined his dad at these clubs as assistant manager. It could be an inspired choice, or it could be a gamble too far. It's intriguing and it's exciting, but we'll leave it up to the viewers. What's their thoughts, and is there anything else they prefer? But no, as Lewis has said, it's an intrigue.
Right.
Oh, definitely. Well, listen, guys, get your comments in. Give us something to talk about, please, other than this, if you can, because we can sit here and talk about this all night. I think for me, guys,
I think the big thing is, what's the positives and negatives? But sorry, then I'll let you finish what you're going to say.
No, well, listen, the positives is we're nearly there by the looks of it. I think that's the kind of main thing. A lot of people are wanting a right blockbuster signing. You know, there's people going on about Mourinho, they're going on about Benitez, and managers that have been there, and they've got obviously big names and stuff like that. But if you look at who we are as a club and the opportunities that we give people, if you look back at Souness had never been a manager before he came to us. And even Walter Smith took over from Souness. Walter Smith had never been a first-team manager. Gerrard got his opportunity. And even if you want to go really as far back as Bill Struth wasn't the first-team manager before he took over with Roy Wilton. So we don't need to worry about this, the fact that it's his first job. We just need to back him. And we've had things before where obviously like Paul Le Guen was one of the hottest prospects in Europe as far as the manager is concerned, the guy that you make until Christmas. So I'm not particularly worried about this. I don't know what you guys think.
I'm not particularly worried.
I think that there's a good argument. Well, there's no argument about it. If this guy becomes a manager with assistants that he's going to bring in and things, first of all, it's a massive risk for both the manager and for Rangers. The reason I'm saying that is he'll look at Clement and say, well, every manager in the world is going to say, I want a bit of time, I want patience, and you're not going to get that in Glasgow. It could be a stroke of genius, and it could be the big thing that we need, and it's certainly going to be something completely different. I'm 50-50 with it. However, the more I hear of it, the more I'm convinced that if you look at what the 49ers, they're going to bring their own guys in, they're going to have their own ideas, and they're going to be totally different, and it's right up their street to have somebody like that. Big football story, it's been all over the news. It puts them in the radar, and these guys have been leaking stories recently. We've seen it. They have been leaking stories, kits are being leaked, and everything's been put out in a positive manner. I think that there's a lot more to it than we think. I just hope that I hope he can understand Scottish football quick, because the fans won't want a project manager, and that's the worry. In terms of his experience, he doesn't have enough experience as a football manager, but good point, Ryan. Well, all those examples you made will be controversial there, but actually talking sense for a change. There's a lot of good points in that, but I still think I would prefer a manager who's got managerial experience. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Sorry, I was just coming off mute there. Yeah, sorry, I was coming off mute for a change. Never usually on mute. Lewis, Sandra, yourselves, any thoughts, any concerns over it?
Well, only concern I had was like the likes of Stephen Gerrard coming and he departed at the earliest opportunity he could.
Yeah.
But we can't afford any more mistakes like the mistakes we've been making in the past.
Well, the only thing I'll say on that, I'm not defending Gerrard or going against him on this, but see with that level of management nowadays, there's very little loyalty. This guy's coming in, obviously looking at the fact that if he does well with Rangers, he gets other opportunities in Europe. You'll get very few guys who'll be really loyal anyway.
I know, but then again, how many managers are we going to go through? How much money are we going through?
But we're definitely at a stage, we've all agreed on this, we're at a stage now where this manager, even myself, I like to moan, we're going to have,
No.
we're going to have to back a manager and give him a couple of years, because just quickly, did Barry Ferguson make Rangers any better than Clement? No, really.
No.
And I'm not blaming Ferguson, I'm just saying it's not always a quick fix.
Do you know what? They'll have to deal with the players that somebody else has brought in.
So this is going to be a complete overhaul
Do you know what I
and
mean?
a revolution. I'm hoping it's going to be a revolution, and I hope it's going to be as exciting as we hope it. We all spoke about, and for that to happen, it probably should be something that's no Rangers in the past.
Aye.
Possibly.
Yeah. Just come in quickly in the back. Sandra's absolutely right. We can't afford another Beale. We can't probably afford another Clement. These managers are costing us 10, 11, 12 million pounds in players and payoffs every time. What I would say that I would think about Ancelotti Jr. is that his dad's going to be appointed. It's heavily rumoured that he's going to be appointed manager of Brazil. So his
It's
dad
not a rumour anymore, mate. It's official.
has it happened? Cool. Okay, perfect. That excellent. So that would probably free up his dad to give him some advice and some support and some mentoring time as well. He's already done that, and he's got experience at Bayern Munich, Napoli, Everton, Real Madrid twice, big clubs, PSG as well. So he's hopefully got some contacts at these clubs as well. So we could, with the 49ers financial muscle, we could start to see some youngsters coming for places like Real Madrid to learn their trade over at Rangers as well. So there's that aspect to it as well, which I hope would benefit us.
So he knows the European game, he knows the British game, albeit he doesn't know the Scottish game. Is that fair enough?
Yeah.
Aye, you know, I can agree with that. Aye, I can agree with that.
So what pros have we got? You guys have been doing a bit of research on the bus or on the train, but we've been doing some research. I don't know if Gordon's done any. I've not done any on them, so that's the limit for what I know about him.
Well, I mean, it's pretty simple and straightforward. He's basically retired from football at 20. Done a degree in sports science for USI. I think he was your Euro's inspiration for that. Yep. And joined PSG as a fitness coach and sports scientist. Then moved over to his dad. Took him to Real Madrid the first time around. Then his dad took him to Napoli. Then his dad took him to Bayern Munich, and then back to Real again. He has managed a couple of games. Not particularly successfully, unfortunately, when Ancelotti Senior's been suspended. But he's got a wealth of experience. You don't get to be an assistant manager at these clubs if you're crap, irrespective of who your father is. He's got. I think he's a young guy that's grew up with really serious contacts at big clubs. So you'll have learnt a hell of a lot of not just Ancelotti, but all the coaches at these big clubs.
I mean, I'm going to put a comparison here that's probably not got a lot of relevance, but
You've got to do it anyway.
I'm going to do it. If you listen to Talk Sport with Barry Hearn and that, right, there's been the argument a few times that just because your dad is a success doesn't mean that you can take over. And the same with Chris Eubank Jr. at boxing, with Eubank, right? But it doesn't automatically mean you're going to be a failure just because your dad's a success. Where the clubs that he's been at, if you were going to ask for a candidate to have been at a variety of clubs, then the variety of clubs that he's been involved at are all clubs that you would say they've got a good pedigree.
Okay, just a couple of comments coming in here. One from Peter McCready. It's a risk, but the new board must give him some cash. Back him 100%. I think you alluded to that yourself, Si, about talking about getting some money there. And not just to say it, but actually do it and get us back to where we belong. So I think that goes without saying that this guy needs a certain amount of cash to make all this work.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, the problem he's got right away is, for an example, and I'm not trying to diss players, but he's going to have to pay $4 million. Is that right for? For Cortez, I forgot his name. Is that crap? Cortez. So that's a signing he's got to make that he's not going to want to make. Whoever the manager is, that's part of the deal. You're going to have to. You're buying a player you don't want. So that's $4 million.
I don't think you want any of them, Si, to be honest with you. If he could bin them all, he probably would bin them all. Start all over again.
Yeah.
I totally agree with you, Ryan.
So the question there is have we got the ability to do that? I think Gordy's made a good point there. You would, anybody, and I mean anybody, would be going like that. Daddy, going to help us here.
Simon, you've said that before.
That might be the experience, and they'll also have contacts. That's two things that he will have in football. But no necessary first team managerial experience, but he's been in the dugouts with the big names.
Yeah, just another wee comment here as well. Rangers announced a new manager next Monday. Wait and see on that. My pals were actually due to get a tour of Ibrox on Friday, and the tour's been cancelled on them.
Cancelled.
So is that somebody saying next Monday's when they're going to do it?
Next Monday, Andrew McInnes is claiming the man. I obviously can't confirm or deny what he's saying there, but the only intel that I can give you from what I know is that my pals were organised for a tour on Friday, we boys stay out, and those tours have actually been cancelled.
There you go.
We've not got any inside knowledge on this, right? This is just a comment that we've spoken about for a few weeks now, is that we believe that the 49ers will do the PR stunt, the old David Murray classic. Celtic get their title celebration at the weekend, and then Monday, Rangers come out with a new manager. Celtic probably win the treble, and Rangers come out with a new ownership for the 49ers, the PR stunt. And that's kind of on the track so far, if you watch what's been happening. I think we're all agreeing, these stories don't just leak by coincidence.
It's mad to think, though, Si, that we've not done very well this season. We've got nothing to play for now, but we're still the ones writing the headlines.
I say we've not done very well. What do you class as very well?
And that's what the
I think we embarrassed ourselves this season at some points, have we not?
Definitely.
Well, certainly.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Our worst home run in our history, one of our worst cup results in our history. I mean,
Probably the worst.
Yeah.
the league was done before the second Old Firm this season. Like we played them in the New Year's Old Firm. We already knew the season was done.
My prediction for a wee while now has been that, first of all, not my prediction, my opinion is that Patrick Stewart was brought in by the 49ers before we knew anything about it.
Right.
They're a lot further in advance. I've said that for a while. I had no idea about the manager, and I don't know if it will be this guy, David, but if it is, then you would have to say a bit of credit to them towards they're starting to put out, you're right what you're saying, an absolute garbage season, and we're getting the headlines. That's how the Americans like to do things. And I would like to think that if it is, it's going to be a roller coaster. Then I would like to think it's going to be good news after good news, because they need to sell the season tickets. They need to get a feel-good factor. And we can't lose games at Ibrox and start saying this is a honeymoon period. Because unfortunately, this guy might have been the assistant manager at Real Madrid and things like that, but there is no honeymoon period at Ibrox.
Aye. Well, we had Barry Ferguson come out and talking about what you were saying slightly there about honeymoon period. Barry Ferguson came out in his press conference I watched it the day and he was saying that there's no time for project managers at Rangers, and I do agree with that.
He's right.
I do agree with that.
Barry's getting it. Listen, Barry Ferguson's got a right to feel a bit aggrieved, right? But performance-wise, it's no good enough. Whatever we think of Barry, I think he's a great guy, Rangers legend in my opinion. But
Barry Ferguson, to me, he knows what playing for the jersey is.
I would have him at the club.
Yeah, he knows what the institution is, and he knows what the players should be playing for. Do you know what I mean?
That's my point. He's got
that's what I mean.
a personal opinion. He'd probably gone like, I didn't really get a fair crack at it. And I don't think any could argue with that, because it didn't matter who took over. Same as I've been doing the contrast a few times about Stuart McCall. It didn't matter who took over. They had the same set of players. You couldn't buy anybody.
I know.
So I don't think he's got a right to feel a wee bit aggrieved.
I think it's safe to say it's not going to be Barry Ferguson to take on the reins permanently anyways, although he has came out numerous times and backed himself for it.
So who is, I know that I don't gamble, right? Ryan's into all this. What is the favourite order? What is the favourite
Please gamble
order?
responsibly, I'll have you know. Thanks very much. Cheers. A wee couple of pound flitters just to make it interesting. There's nothing wrong with it.
The betting did close, didn't it? But it's back open.
Betting closed, aye. It opened back up again. Ancelotti would come in. He was 91 when it closed. And then he came back in at 1-3, which basically they're a bit. I've seen Gerrard out as far as 1-6, I think, which basically made him, he was pretty much got it.
Outsider.
No, Gerrard at 1-6, Andrews, basically
Right.
you put it's
That's
nigh on
how
it.
I'm good at betting.
I'll keep you right. I'll keep you right. He's pretty much got his tie and his brown brogues on already.
Alright,
1-6.
The Range Rover ready.
So that changed again when this boy David came into the running out the blue, because none of us had spoke about him.
No, but none of us have spoke about Clement before he get the job either. So he came right out of nowhere as well.
That's right.
So it's a strange one. It's a strange one, but we've just got to sit back and wait and see. And if it happens to be him, we've just got to back him to the Hilton. Again, just hope for the best. Which is sad to say, but
I know we're having a laugh about the sports science stuff and all that, right? But I did see in the chat earlier on, whether we like it now, I'm what you call a Rangers da, or officially a Rangers grandad.
I can get on board with that, so
Well,
get on board with that.
The future of football, whether we like it or no, is all this XG, and it's studying sports science, and it's a different type of manager for what we're traditionally used to. And you would probably argue Clement would be the first one that came in and done that, and it didn't work.
I'm just looking for results.
I so am I. But see the type of manager I think he fits. I think this boy Davide Ancelotti fits the profile that I would imagine the Americans would be looking for a new revolution with Rangers. So it doesn't surprise me.
Well, I mean, the 49ers are coming in, they're certainly taking a gamble. I mean, he's about 35-year-old. I'd assume he's probably one of, if not the youngest manager in our history if he gets appointed, so it's a massive gamble.
Sure.
he's younger than Leon Balogun.
Did you not do the homework on that
On the
one?
bus. On the bus.
That was your job, do the homework. One of the youngest or the youngest?
I don't know.
Do you want to talk about the game at the weekend?
Aye, I think we need to address some of it.
Aye. Yeah. I'll put my hands up. I wasn't there. I couldn't be bored.
I actually like to hear a wee bit of passion.
Put hands up, I didn't watch it.
Liam Balogun basically said something that I liked. An Aberdeen team that we don't like, at least somebody at the team and the club has got a bit of passion and understands how the fans feel. You know what? It's a deadpan game. You could say there's no much to play for. There's no incentive really, other than playing for the blue jersey. But at least a guy like Balogun comes out and says what we all think, and he got tore into them. I thought he had a good game, Big Balogun. Nothing in the first half to really talk about. The VAR thing, I can't keep up with how VAR's working. That's one of my problems with it.
I don't understand it either.
Aye, and I feel as if it's changing the rules all the time. But in terms of the second half, I thought the only thing I've got to moan, I like him on, is Iggerman. I don't understand how, first of all, Clement and then Barry Ferguson don't want to play Iggerman. I would have him playing every week. And for Jamie, I would have as a sub at the very most. Other
You
than
see
that,
what Agimani offers?
there was actually really good goals in the game.
Right.
That was about it. There didn't take much more for it.
Tell lies, I've seen a wee bit of the game.
The goals are all good. It was all good goals.
No, I've seen them. I did see them.
Si, your mic's away. I can hear you through Lewis's mic. Your mic's actually going, mate. Give you a couple of seconds just to sort that out.
It's like so.
Hold on.
You're lights off, Sam.
Yeah, we should be back.
You're back in, you're back in the game. Your pacemaker's working again.
That's us. The ticker's
You're
on.
back in.
Good. Anyway,
Aye.
I was just saying it wasn't the best game, wasn't the worst game, but the goals were really good. Iggeman's goal was outstanding.
Yep.
That boy is the future. That's the one. We're not talking about players that we wouldn't keep. He's one of the players that we're probably going to struggle to keep. And I think the decision's already been made for the fans that Raskin should be the captain next season. So that's two positives from a nothing weekend.
God, do you think Raskin will be sold? Do you think he'll be the one to be sacrificed to get the money in?
I think that Raskin, as Simon says, will be captain next season. I think we'll do well to get another year out of him. I'd be happy to get another year out of him and then sell him on. I think he's got a year. If we can have a good season next year with the 49ers coming in, if we can win a couple of trophies next season, that'll boot if he's a captain of that side next season, it'll boot his value up a couple of million. And we'll look to sell him next season. We can't afford, I think, to, even with the 49ers coming in, we still can't afford to let these guys' contracts run down and lose them for nothing at the end of each season. So I think possibly next season will be the last for Raskin. Eagleman, possibly have him for another 18 months, two seasons. But again, as Simon says, very big potential. Great. He's scored some great goals. I've been frustrated with him this season sometimes, but he's got talent and he's got passion as well. And that goal in Sunday was superb. So that's two promising players we've got. It's hard to make a case for a lot of the other players. Desser's probably. But apart from that, you're looking at maybe just a handful of other players who we keep. But no, Raskin for next season for captain for sure. And then look to cash in him in the summer. If we keep, and don't forget the World Cup, I think it's next year as well. So Belgium qualify for the World Cup, and Raskin's Rangers captain. He's playing for Belgium, and he has a good World Cup. That could add 25-30% onto his value as well. So I think we need to do everything we can to keep him for another season.
Yeah, I think we've got to get a new contract. We've got to at least extend his deal by at least 1 year if we look to keep him. Lewis, first day in the job, Mr. Ancelotti, you've got a £20 million bid on your table from Leeds United for Nico Raskin. He's standing in front of you with a bag in his hand and he wants to go down to Leeds. Do you take it or no? Can you hear you, pal? No, we've lost the studio. You still with me, Gordy?
Still with you, mate? Yeah.
I lost the studio.
The way you phrased that question there was a bit of a leading question there, Ryan, for poor Lewis to come in there. I think that if he's got his bags packed and wanting to go and you get 20 million for him, you say, see you later, Raskin, and take the money. But it's been an interesting point. Oh.
Yep. We're back, side. Can you hear you
Right,
again?
sorry, we had a power cut earlier, so when I charged the mics, we've only had the whole food to charge them.
Well, don't wait to do, Lewis. You just use your voice like I do, a Black Hill voice, and we catch side.
I'll just shout like I shout the football.
Aye. Well, carry on the new, guys. Carry on the new.
Aye,
Right.
so you were saying, I think it was last week or the week before, right?
I'll give us a 5-minute charge.
Supposedly something happening with Leeds United and Raskin going in there.
No, lost you again, pal. No, can't hear you, mate.
I'll actually come back and meet you, man. I'm going to go against the grain here and probably say a really unpopular opinion. I still don't rate him as highly as a lot of people do, to be perfectly honest with you. He went through, he didn't really start going until November, start December. He had a good run of 7, 8 games. Then he went back up the boil for 7 or 8 games. Then scored that one in Parkhead, great goal, went wrong. Then he goal on Saturday, he goal on Sunday.
Right, so that's
But
no good power the new, right?
a lot of the time he doesn't really do enough for me at the moment. But that said, still got a lot of talent.
Sure. Hey, your mic's going as well now, Gordy. We're having a laugh here.
I know, the gremlins are in.
Oh, Christ, Steve.
TV.
I know, that's it. That's it.
Right, what were you going to say, Lewis?
Aye, well, if you can you hear me alright? Aye.
I can hear you loud and clear, pal.
Right, that's brilliant. So you were saying how there is supposedly a rumour of a 20 million move for Raskin to go down to Leeds, and you were mentioning there. If that's the case, then I think we do have to accept, because as we were talking about there a couple of minutes ago as well, previously we've made the mistake of letting players basically run down their contract and leaving a free when we've had offers of 15, 20 million, say, of course, Kent and Morelos, but even Glenn Kamara comes to mind as well, and we could have gotten a lot more than what we actually did for him as well. And I think a lot of people go with their heart in this sense as well. Of course, people are thinking Racing's going to be the new captain, we've got to keep him for at least another year or two, and you were saying as well, if he ends up our captain and he takes Belgium to the World Cup and as a leader in that squad as well, it ups his value by about 25-30% as well, and I can't disagree with that, but it's a massive gamble. Like, I think 20 million, you've got to take money like that. For a man who's as much as we spoke about it as well before, a man who's only had 6-7 really good months at Rangers at his peak. I mean, you've 20 million. That's incredible money.
You need to have a proper player trading model, and you need to have a buying model and a selling model. We can't complain about the past and then make the same mistakes.
Yeah, I think you're probably the best example I can give you as far as selling is concerned is Bassey. So Bassey was at Rangers for what, 1.5 years?
Yes, good business.
Or two, maybe 2 years, sorry. But he had a right good 6 months between January and the May of 2022, obviously leading up to his performance in the Europa League final. He was probably the best player in the park that night. And we sold him for £25 million. But he had a right good 6 months. He reached a peak value and we get rid of him. Well, didn't get rid of him, sorry, that's not how we put it. We cashed in on him and we sold him, right? Nico Raski's been at Rangers for 2.5 years now and has given us 6 good months, right? It's time to sell him. It has to get sold. And if you think about now where we are with Jack Butland, see if I'd said to you guys this time last year, we need to sell Jack Butland this summer, you'd be saying to me, no, make him captain, which is what we were saying about Butland last season. Everyone was talking about making him captain, just like I would ask you.
Last season that Jack Butland was the only one that wasn't for sale.
Right. And now look at him.
We also made that mistake with Alfie Morelos. We got the bid, never took it.
Yeah, we'd probably get £10 million for Butland last season. At this moment, you're probably lucky to get £1 million for him. So we need to cash in and asking now. Now's the time. As much as it hurts because we all love the wee man, now's the time to sell.
God, you still there, mate? Aye.
Yeah. Just let you guys say,
that sounds like a robot, mate.
You're like a wee robot.
Sorry?
Your mic's not very good, mate. What you do is come out there. There. I come out and come back in again.
Back in.
Aye, we'll get back in.
That's it.
Everything else seems alright. Do you want to go with the comments in Ryan?
Aye, let's get a wee look here.
That's probably the best thing for us to do.
Aye, let's have a wee look here. Big Alex is on one here again. Here we go. So let's be serious about Ancelotti Jr. His dad commands respect the clubs he's been at, not his son. Yes, he's worked with some fantastic players, but they really want another untried manager at the club. Our club has not become a project. We've lost our DNA. I think Alex probably missed the start of the show. God, that still was bad, mate. I think Alex probably missed my opening war cry. It was called. Do you think? I mean, should we be looking for a manager who's tried and tested? I mean, I've lost you guys as well. Apologies for this, folks. No, can't hear you. I'll crack on, guys, myself, just while the guys sort themselves out. There we go. I know someone who's working at Ibrox and told they can have the whole month off June and July. Not sure about that. Because also we get the Champions League games in July as well, so I'll be surprised at that. This one is here for Donald Craig. The boy has been round teams worth mega millions, can spend mega coming out of Rangers. Big change for him. I think we're fair to Ancelotti there, Donald, aren't we? Brilliant. And then another one for Alec here. Super Ali was guided with Walter Smith at both Scotland and Rangers. The successor at Rangers, unfortunately, was a disaster. Don't know, Ali stepped in and helped us. We know he obviously seen us up through the third division, into the Championship. Couldn't quite make the step in to get us into the league, but Ali took us on when a lot of guys that walked away from us. Obviously, well known, he get paid very well for doing it, but he still, maybe at the sacrifice of his own managerial career, stepped in and helped us. Clement had far better credentials than both of these, but our impatient support chased him out the door, and the players made sure he was gone. Shame on them. I can agree with that. And it's not the first time the players have down tools on a manager as well. That you can look at what they did to Gio, you can look at what he did to Beale as well. Our players have got, checkered history, unfortunately, down in tools on their manager for whatever reason. I think that comes a lot to deal with the leadership team within the dressing room. I think you know who I'm getting at when I'm talking about the leadership team as well. Yes, Nicola, the mics are at it tonight. Yes, I'm flying solo at this moment in time trying to sort this out. And it's just, Mr. Lonely here, Alec. Yep, sorry I missed the start. So you can see it back, Alec, just for your own benefit for the folk that have just joined us. What my point was at the start of the show was that, yes, Ancelotti, if he does come in, is going to be an untried manager. But if you look back at some of the most successful managers that have looked after us over the years and led us on to trophies and victories, Graham Souness was never a manager before he joined Rangers, and obviously came back from Italy to come to manager and was the player manager, and obviously got his start in our quest for 9 in a row. Unfortunately, it wasn't 10, but Souness started all that. Walter Smith then took up the mantle when Souness left to Liverpool, quite unexpectedly, quite quickly. But Walter stood up again with no first team experience, and we all know how well Walter Smith did, and you obviously miss him dearly as well. Gerrard, again, never a manager, but stopped 10 in a row, and also a reference way back to Bill Struth, who obviously came in when William Milton died in the boating accident off Gourock, and Bill Struth was the longest serving manager of Rangers, but had no managerial experience there. Maybe not as good to, obviously, modern football's a lot different now. So, but just referencing back that we don't need these guys that have got headline, references. And, you think about Mourinho. With Mourinho staying long term for us, you'd lucky to get a season out of him. It would be a party, for absolutely, it'd be funny, it'd be entertaining, but would it be serious? And then you look at somebody like Rafa Benitez, who's just up here to pick up a wage. I'd rather see a manager at Ibrox who is on the upward trajectory rather than the downward trajectory. So I'm looking for someone who's going to come in and try and prove a point and take Rangers on to better and better things. And obviously we expect them to move on to better and bigger things. And that is modern day football now. Nothing is forever. But as we've always said, that no club is greater than the man. What else we got here? Scotty Hammond. You never know when it's time to let a player go, but we just need to learn. I think that's a valid point on that one there, Scotty. It's difficult to know when, because obviously the crystal ball of when these players are going to come in and out. But I think just looking at the trends and looking at what we've got here with Raskin, I think now's the time. And it's sad to say, because all of the wee guy bits, I think he's tenacious, he's fantastic. Shades of Reno Gattuso in his play at this moment in time, he's absolutely everywhere for us. But I think we need the money more than we need Nico Raskin at the moment in time, because we've got a serious rebuild on our hands over the summer, and I think £20 million will do a right good dent in that. And I think we need to dosh, being honest. Still waiting for the guys to come back. Still waiting for Gordon to come back as well. What else we got here? Let me just grab bits here. There's one here from John Robertson. Talk to him. What we're saying about the new home kit. So it was announced today officially, guys, from the club, probably the worst kept secret in Scottish football, that Umbro are going to be the new kit maker of Rangers, and obviously in partnership with Casto, because Umbro obviously are one of their. Grand. Right, we're just about, aye.
Oh, hello.
Almost.
Right, we're back. It's quite a high-pitched noise in the background there, guys. It's not a great connection.
High-pitched noise in the background.
I can hear the thing in my earphones.
You get it as well, Sandra. Aye, yep.
It sounds like an event or something like that.
Yeah, that's what it sounds like, an air vent.
It sounds like.
Yep.
Plus, I thought it was just you heavy breathing now. No, somebody heavy breathing. But
Listen to me, Lewis.
No,
Listen to me.
I think that's better now. Say
That's
something.
the way.
that's it.
That's it.
Hey, here we go. We're back in the game.
We're back in the game. The
Back in-
Rangers
back-
are back in the game.
That's it. No surrender. We're back.
Robert Party's ran it, so that's what happened. Anyway,
Here we go.
Right,
Here
we're
we
back.
go.
We're
back.
I forgot what we were talking about.
that's got me.
Aye, I forgot my train of thought here. I'm sweating here. I'm blagging that much. Christ, you're killing me.
Oh, you done very well, Brian. You done very
Let's see the
well.
comments.
Right. Anyway, thanks for the comments, guys. You kept me going there under a pressure situation.
Before I go any further, can I just tell you, probably can't see, but the dog's looking as if they say, where the fuck are they?
Indeed, no. I know.
Guys, that's a valid point here from Steve G. Ancelotti, Stelwell's appointment, so obviously they probably worked together at Everton. Need to obviously look at the time periods and stuff like that. They were both at the club, but there's a good possibility they were both at Everton at the same time. If he wants him, then he'll get him. This is his show now, so I think that's a good point.
Yep. He certainly, that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying I'm for this or against it. I wasn't for it last night, that's for sure. The big thing about it is he'll certainly have contacts, and he has got the biggest contacts in world football. So in terms of contacts for to buy players, it's a wee bit like the Gerrard one, when people might say Gerrard wasn't the best manager, but he had the ability to buy the best players. And I think this would, where the 49ers coming in, and this guy David coming in as a manager, if that's the case, I think at least he'll be able to buy the best players. Or the other thing is, it's probably very important now, because you're right, Sandra, what you're saying that, is he should have the opportunity to bring in up-and-coming talent, because that's probably the market that we're going to really have to look at, the up-and-coming loan deals and things like that.
Yeah. So I think this one as well is a win. By the way, if it is Ancelotti, I will unconditionally get behind him. It's our duty as a supporter, and I hope it's not for 16 months down the line. We're not chasing another manager out the door. I think that's there. I don't know. Just got to wait and see. I think with any manager, he's got to get the backing on this side of things.
We can't keep going in the circles, but this is the thing, and we've been in the position when we go with these ones right away, but this is a project now, we need to stick with whoever gets it.
Yeah.
The thing is as well, see if we don't look after him, he'll be sitting there in his old man phone and says, "Son, what are you doing? Just come work with me." See if it's that bad and it stresses you that much, you're getting that much grief and they don't appreciate you, bag it. Come work with me. You'll get the same salary, come be my assistant again.
And on the contrary, he might embrace it, he might love it. Dad's phoning him up and he's like, "I'll be signing the Bristol." We're having a Bristol Sunday at Bristol Valley. The fans love me.
Oh dear.
Nice. I could just imagine you've got...
on for me.
I could just see the picture now. You've got his assistant one here and you've got him here and you've got the two of them in a headlock.
We don't know how it's going to go. That's a big thing. It's what we were saying earlier, Alex Kelly's going a lot of things. He's maybe missed the start. It's probably the biggest gamble we could take for and against. But that might be what they
Plenty of gambles.
The easiest gamble they can take is Gerrard, I would say. If they took Gerrard, at least they wouldn't be a big gamble in terms of he knows about the club and things like that. But I think there's a lot more to this story. I genuinely do. I'm starting to think that the bookies are really wrong. Is it Romanov his name is? Fabio?
Fabrizio Romano.
You're thinking the guy
Very
that used to
well.
run Hearts. You're thinking
Whatever his name is, that guy. I don't do Twitter. This guy's very well rang with the connections he's got. And the other pages that have been talking about it are all saying it looks like a goal. So it definitely looks like there's something in it.
Yeah. So it's just a waiting game for us and a hoping game. So
Yeah.
I would like to think by next week, if there's an announcement on Monday night, we'll play something Monday night.
Monday night.
The fans want good news.
I'm just wanting something to happen, to be honest. Because
Stability.
ever since Clement got this, we've all just been, I say impatiently waiting. As I think I speak for 90% of the fans, we've all been impatiently waiting for something to happen in terms of a permanent manager.
Well, they got to sack 8
onwards.
weeks ago. Something like that. That's a long time to wait on the manager. So
So they've had 8 weeks of business
February
to
it'll be
do.
over 8 weeks.
I get told at the weekend, right, this might not look nonsense, but not a bad source. The guy watches this, you know, that there's 26, because he asked me. He said there's 26 candidates, or there was 26 candidates for the job. Quite a lot. So there'll be guys in there that will never play. But that'd be Ancelotti was one of them.
Aye. And I'm just thrown completely at the bottom.
Aye.
No pun intended.
Well, thing they came from nowhere, then McInnes came in
McInnes.
on the bookies last week.
Aye.
I think he was still sitting at 21. I think he was still sitting one of the favourites up until, till this came in. He's going to Hearts. I think it's a sure he's going to Hearts.
Getting a Hearts job, aye. Seen that.
He'll do well there. He will do well there.
Is there anybody else, but I can't see the comments, is there anybody else thinks it's a great idea, a good idea? Or
No, everyone's been very quiet tonight. They're just sitting back laughing at our microphones. That's what it is. And he won't court it.
That's a luck I bring.
Yeah.
That's my own fault, because we came in and there's been a power cut and I had to get the power back on, and I never charged the batteries quicker.
Yeah. You're getting slagged off here. Get your 50 pence into the meter side. Yeah. Here's one I seen.
Get your gas and electricity here.
Listen, it should be better now. I don't know what's happened to Gordon right enough. He's been cyberspace going.
That's an easy way to charge his batteries and all.
Aye.
This was one I seen earlier on as well, but we speak quite a lot about a Scottish or at least a British identity in the dressing room at all times. I'd imagine Ancelotti. I think at one point Duncan Ferguson was working as a coach at Everton with these guys, wasn't he?
Yeah,
That's a good
that's
shout.
right.
So, is there a position for Duncan Ferguson in the dressing room? Do you think, guys?
I think there certainly is, and I did have a research as well. At Everton, when Ancelotti was the manager, Ancelotti Senior, and the dad, when he was a manager, it was his boy and Duncan Ferguson that led training for Everton, that led the training.
There you
I
go.
think
You
that
did,
they-
Dave.
Aye.
So you did your
Took the
wee...
training. I did do a wee bit of research. No,
On the bus.
And Duncan
intended, but I did
Ferguson's
do a
been
wee
on
bit.
talking about Rangers in the last few days. He's been on the
That's
media
not-
talking about
Aye.
Rangers.
That's not a coincidence, is it?
That's right.
No, absolutely. You know what? It could be. You know what? I wouldn't be against it. Absolutely wouldn't be against it. It'd be great in the dressing room.
A couple of things I'll say on that. First of all, there's been people saying Duncan Ferguson for the manager. That's a no-go. right?
No, not for me.
That would never be a case. But a Duncan
Afternoon.
Ferguson type player is
Afternoon.
probably the kind of guy that we've all been screaming for when we lost to Queen's Park and things like that. You're screaming for that type of player. And I thought, management kind of guy, and it influences the word I'm looking for. I thought Barry, when he brought the boys in, they would have done that, but it doesn't appear to be the case. But Duncan Ferguson would be a guy that I would say is a good shout. Is that what you thought about a trainer?
Aye, a coach. Well, I mean, I can see to an extent why folk are saying Duncan Ferguson for the job. I mean, he was the interim at Everton. I think in a couple of stints he was the interim at Everton. He did all right, and then he went to Inverness and probably one of the darkest, if not the darkest, period of Inverness's history. He did his best with him. I mean, Zell did none today. I mean, of course, it's a massive step. It's a massive distance. But he had nothing to play for.
There's a few boxes, but there's a few things in common with all these guys with the Everton thing, with the Ancelotti thing. So
Aye.
that could maybe be something in that. I know that.
Potentially. You know, I'd be intrigued. I'd be all for it.
Let's see what it brings.
Yep. I think this is one here. This is another one from Steve G here. Farewell isn't the only one coming through. He's bringing a couple of other guys with him for recruitment and academy. And there's a claim here that Niels Coppin's only got a few weeks left at Ibrox, which would be quite controversial considering. That would be quite controversial because Coppin was basically promoted, not long ago. Given more responsibility within the building to maybe find himself out in the street, which I'd be surprised if that was the case.
Aye, was he promoted before the 49ers had any kind of influence? Because I think they've got a bit of influence now with Patrick Stewart, to be honest. So maybe he was promoted and then these guys came in, because it came out of blue, if you remember.
Yeah.
I'm not a big fan of Coppin, to be honest. I don't think he's done a great job.
It's very, very hit and a miss. So you look at probably the likes of Eagleman, been absolutely fantastic. And then there's some other ones that you could have a list as long as you have. I don't know if he was responsible for the likes of the Danilo signing, the Cortez signing. There's £10 million in transfer fees and probably about 40 grand a week in wages. Danilo signed up to a right long-term deal. I think Danilo's still got 3, maybe even 4 years left in his deal at Ibrox. So it's a difficult one.
I think that the 49ers thing is, we're going with Dave King, 90% done, right? I think it'll be it's a family show. I think it'll be a clean sweep. I think he'll try and get rid of all the influences at the club they do, and the management side and behind the scenes, and it'll be a full routine completely.
Great. Listen, we're getting up to 43 minutes here, so you were saying last week you wanted to kind of keep it by 45?
Aye, so we're looking at a new format. We've been taking advice off of people. Plug the mics in, but I don't have a clue what's the biggest bit of advice. Basically, we're looking at 45-minute shows because it's a mental thing that most people like to watch between half an hour and 45 minutes and try and do 2 a week. So that's going to be the kind of new format for it. Apologies about the sound, we did have a and we did have the mics charging. But guys, it's tomorrow night. Looking forward to the game tomorrow night. There's nothing much to look forward to, but it's always good to go to Ibrox. It's always good to meet your pals. It's a great stadium, and hopefully it's going to start to be good news coming in the next couple of weeks.
Good. Something to look forward to.
I hope so.
I think we're just looking forward to being over.
I know.
Looking forward to being over and done with, starting again. So,
reset again. Aye.
Yep. I would be looking for new sponsors for next season as well, Si, for the channel.
Aye, that's a big thing. Obviously, the sponsorship of the channel now. Obviously, the studio completely done up now. Hopefully, I'll have a big interview coming up the next 3 weeks. I won't say who, but it's the biggest one the channel's done. And that'll set things up for us. In terms of the channel itself. We've got new partners going to be announcing in the next 2 weeks as well, but sponsorship's a big thing now, and we'll probably have another 2 partners after that. And as well as that, we'll be promoting a lot of the cultural events as well that we're unashamedly support.
Yeah, definitely, guys. Well, we'll wrap it up. 45 minutes dead.
Yes, it's good seeing you, Ryan.
Sandra, it's good to
Yeah,
have
and
you
Judy,
back.
good to have you back.
Good to be back. Good to be back.
Of course, we've missed you.
Oh, I know.
It's a big soup, isn't it? It's not when you're not here.
I know, Sally, I know.
Brilliant,
Right.
guys. Ryan, thanks for your help posting it
No.
behind the scenes. It works a lot better.
Thank you
think,
very
mate.
much.
And you were
Yep,
still
no problem
good?
at all.
Aye. And always remember,
We are
the
the people.